Hey all, here at OS Reviews, you're watching our hands-on review of the BTwear Smart Fitness Tracker / bracelet. Now the reason why we're taking a look at this, because the box itself is very generic looking, is actually because of the price and the build quality. For one, it retails for only $35, making it very budget friendly, and B, because it's not made out of the usual plastic that we see out of lightweight fitness trackers. It actually has an aluminum alloy shell, as well as tempered glass that's curved on the edge, as well as a synthetic leather band, so it's set to have a more luxurious feel despite offering a very low price point. So on the back here we have some basic specifications, again very generic looking. It does offer optical heart rate tracking, however, in addition to blood pressure measurement. But the blood pressure is just estimated. It's using an algorithm based on the heart rate information to give you an estimation of what that's going to be like. It also offers sleep monitoring because it has an accelerometer and motion tracker, in addition to steps, calories burned, and notifications from an Android or iPhone when it's connected. Now the battery here is rated at roughly 5 days on a single charge, so it's not bad. It is using a color display, and we also are using a magnetic charger that seems to be proprietary. It's magnetic and docks onto the back of the tracker. And we also have the instruction manual, which is printed in both Chinese and in English. It just says Operation Manual in a pretty dramatic font. And there's also a QR code that you can scan to download the application. So taking a look at the design of the band, again, it has a heftier weight overall just because the construction quality and materials choice is more premium than the typical or generic Shenzhen-based tracker that we've checked out in the past. There's actually a protective film covering up the display underneath that we're going to peel back. It's a LCD panel, I believe, and again, we have a slight curve to the tempered glass that they're using instead of plastic, which is a lot more common on cheap fitness trackers. Now, it doesn't have a full touchscreen display. Instead, there's just one point that's capacitive, and you tap on this to cycle through the entire interface. Now immediately I can tell that this is going to be a pretty big fingerprint magnet. It is very shiny but also kind of attractive, and again the metal here does feel like it's built relatively well. The part that contacts your skin though is still made out of pieces of plastic just to make it a little bit more comfortable, and we have the contact point for charging and the optical heart rate sensor. The band itself here again is made out of synthetic leather, but the stitching seems to be pretty even, and again definitely looks like something that's more professional or similar to an actual watch than really just a fitness tracking device. A quick size comparison, here is the i6HRC that we recently did a review on in the same price range, also about $30. This one also has a color display and has about the same feature set as well, minus the blood pressure estimation. It only has heart rate data. But you can tell that it's about the same thickness overall, but the build quality isn't quite as good. It's more of a rubbery band. It's definitely more lightweight and plasticky. This one, again, is a lot heftier in terms of its overall construction. And here's the Xiaomi Amazfit Bip, which is more of a smartwatch, but it has overall very similar weight because it's more lightweight. It's made out of plastic, about the same in terms of the height and the depth, and it feels about the same as well when you're wearing it on your wrist. It's definitely not too obtrusive. You can definitely forget about it when you are wearing it. It's rather comfortable for daily use. All right, so if we plug this into the power port on the side here, it'll pop on magnetically, and you'll see a charging indication status pop onto life on the display. And first impressions would be that the display is actually quite contrasty. It almost reminds me a bit of an OLED or an AMOLED panel in terms of the contrast between the black as well as the color. So it's quite impressive in terms of both the viewing angles as well as its saturation. So going through the menu interface of the watch next, as we can see the time and date information along with the battery status. The Bluetooth right now is connected, so you see this logo, as well as the date of the week is printed as well. Tap on one to take a look at a number of steps that we've walked. You can also long hold in this particular mode to enter a quick screen where we can take a look at our heart rate as well as calories burned in a specific timed run. So for instance, right now my heart rate is 73 beats per second, and it's a continuous reading that will change second to second, as you can see here. And we can also see that calories burned, since we aren't moving, is set at 0. I can also stop this timed run as well as to go back. So this is again a mode that you would activate for smaller sessions of sports. So next we have just steps I've taken daily, so right now 1,212, and I can tap on it again to take a look at distance, which converts to 1 kilometer, 65 calories burned, as well as our blood pressure measurement, which is read after about 25 seconds or so. Again, it's using the heart rate data and then estimating it using a built-in algorithm. The next function is just the heart rate, and tapping on once to take a look at the sleep tracking, so how many hours you've slept. Light versus deep sleep data, it can be seen also through the app. It uses the accelerometer so that after you fall asleep, it detects that no motion has been active, and then it counts the sleep from then. One other thing I want to point out is you see this little bar here. Now, when it reaches 100%, you'll see the bar complete itself. That means you've reached the goal for the day. Right now, it's set at 8,000 steps. So you can see that we're just a fraction of our goal. And I can also long hold to take a look at firmware information as well. In addition, if there's any notifications that come in, this is how you also activate that. So for instance, you can long hold to take a look at missed text messages, Facebook or Twitter messages, just by doing the same thing. But you can tell how the screen is a little bit narrow. So for longer lines of messages, it gets cut off a little bit, but it still works nonetheless. Right, so let's go over to the app next. As aforementioned, this is a pretty generic app, and it's simply called H-Band 2.0. It's a free download for the App Store and works for many low-cost fitness trackers. It connects using Bluetooth, and afterwards I can pull down to refresh the page, and it's synced each time that the watch is within close enough proximity to the phone and Bluetooth is turned on. So you can tell that right now, again, we have 1,200 steps completed out of our daily goal in a ring, hours of sleep, and it also tracks our maximum steps that we've taken at different points in the day, in addition to our sleep data, our heart rate data as well, and our blood pressure information as well. Tapping on a specific screen, we can also take a look at, again, a key in terms of what our resting heart rate maximum as well as a normal heart rate should be based on this graph, but it doesn't really give you any predictive or smart intelligent data. So for instance, it's not going to remind you suddenly with a notification if your heart rate is irregular or to contact help, things like that. It just gives you the data that you have to then analyze yourself. Still, the interface is pretty simple, just not as advanced as more expensive fitness trackers in the market by the likes of Garmin and Fitbit, for instance. I can also share this information to friends and family, tapping on the icon above. The sedentary reminder mode, which means that it's also going to vibrate after about 30 minutes of you sitting in one place to remind you to get up and move. And this is the gesture for flicking it over and turning on, and right now it's activated. Over here, we can also activate things like a selfie mode. So it acts as a selfie remote, basically, and I can open up the camera, for instance, within the app that I have here, and then tapping on the watch, you can use this to act as a shutter key for taking an image, as you can see there. And it's a nice little accessory if you want to take images with multiple friends and family, a nice little bonus feature. One of the more cooler features on here is something called setting of the main interface style. So you can change your watch face. Right now, the default one, as you saw, is a digital watch that looks like this, that shows off some of the color capabilities of the display. I can change it to style 1, and this is now going to be an analog style watch. Again, since this one really does have the feel and the build of a real watch, it actually matches something like this pretty well. It looks very elegant, and it doesn't even seem like a fitness tracker, to be completely honest. It seems more like just a regular watch until you access the other core features. And I can change it to interface style 3, and now we have, again, an analog style watch, but we have some additional markers on the sides for easier glancing, and there's also the date information as well as the Bluetooth status on the top. So a little bit more of information. Next one is just a stopwatch that we can access directly from the Y2 now. I've turned this feature on through the settings, and I can also long hold on this, and that will begin a quick stopwatch that you can see goes up from seconds to minutes above. So a pretty nice visualization. I can tap on it once to pause it, tap on it to begin, and then long hold on it to go back from this page. So that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Y2 or the BT Link sports fitness tracker is concerned. Again, the only reason why we're taking a closer look at this particular model is because of the fact that the construction quality and build is a step up compared to past Shenzhen-based trackers we've seen, especially in this really budget segment of around $20 to $30. It actually works really well just because it's built well, it's comfortable, battery life at roughly 5 to 6 days in our testing so far seems to be pretty accurate, and as far as accuracy is concerned, it's not bad either. In terms of steps, it gets about the same count as our Amazfit BIP, as well as with a Amazfit Xiaomi Band 2. You can learn more details in the links down below, but for now, this has been it. This is the BT Link Y2 Fitness Tracker Band.